When it comes to saving money, Americans receive an F minus. Yes, the cost of living is expensive in this country, but here to share how you can comfortably add to your coffers on this Money Monday is Howard Dvorkin, an accountant and chairman of Debt.com. Thank you so much for joining us again.
Thank you.
And is F minus a good grade, or should I give us a little bit more credit than that?
Thinking people could do a little better. And let's face it, money management is not something that comes naturally to most of us. I'm an accountant, and frankly, that's what I do. I'm a geek. But most of us are not geeks, and most of us want to have fun and find any possible distraction that they can find other than doing simple things to make their lives better. Meaning, budgeting is the number one thing a consumer should do. How many of us do it? If you look at our surveys at Debt.com, 95% of the people that take these surveys say they're doing budgeting. The reality, it's much less than that. Unfortunately, there's 1,001 things people can do that are more fun than budgeting. And coming to the realization that, hey, I'm broke is not something that's pleasant, nor is it fun, but it's
That's
a
for sure.
reality, and people need to go and budget and do it religiously and kind of figure out on a monthly basis what to do.
And you've got some really good tools there. But I just want to ask you really quick, Howard. I did a little research myself. There are some statistics out there as to how much people actually have saved per demographic. Do you have any of those numbers? Do you know what people are saving these days?
I mean, from this standpoint, comparing America to other countries, it's anemic. Most people almost have a negative savings rate, meaning they spend more, and that's because they use credit cards and things like that. We are doing better as of late, and a lot of people are taking the opportunity during this pandemic because they're not going out, they're not going to the movies, they're not going to restaurants, they're not spending money that they normally spend, but they're taking that opportunity to pay down their debt, which is great. Now, let's face it, with low interest rates that the federal government's giving out, it doesn't incentivize people to save money because you're getting no return. That being said, people need to save, and they need to save a lot. The rule of thumb is 6 months savings to cover your expenses in case something happens. Now, the people that I deal with at Debt.com, that number is a lot smaller because these are people in debt. So maybe 3 months is fine if you're typically spending $2,000 a month on rent, car, eating, and your basic living expenses. Maybe 3 months is fine, and try to take that extra money and put it towards your outstanding debt.
Absolutely. Now, you say keeping a budget is the number one way that people can start saving money. You took a survey, 98% of people say that budgeting is very important. So you have pretty much an entire consensus of people who say, yes, we need to budget. But not that many people actually do. So it's like, the broccoli is good for you, but whether you eat it on a daily basis is another thing. So how do you go about establishing a budget?
Well, it's very simple. You got to sit down at the kitchen table and figure out where you are, how much money is coming in. There are tools, especially on Debt.com, that somebody can utilize in order to prepare a budget, but you got to save your receipts. That means not only look at what you're spending on credit cards, review your debit card statements, review your bank statements, but also categorize your expenses. There's lots of tools out there available on the web, on the internet, that allow consumers the ability to compile all this information, and it's somewhat of a tedious effort. There are websites such as Mint.com and some others that are very good and does this for you automatically. So I suggest that people spend at least an hour a month doing this, and do it as a family event rather than you sitting in the dark in your office or whatever the case may be, around the kitchen table and have the family unit, whether it's a single parent or a household, bring the kids into it early on so they can actually learn and learn not what to do rather than,
That's true.
you know,
That is very true. Well, I think this is a good place to take a break. We do need to go to a commercial, but I think at the end of the month, people would be in shock with what they actually spend. So I want to talk also about using cash as opposed to using your debit card. We're going to do that after the break. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back on this Money Monday. We brought back our friend Howard Dvorkin. He is not just an accountant, but he's also the chairman of Debt.com, a fantastic website. Before the break, Howard, we were talking about how to save money, and creating a budget is really the most important thing. Something that we've talked about in the past is using green cash money instead of your debit card. How important is this?
it's so important because whipping out a piece of plastic is easy. Ordering something online is easy. There's no pain factor. However, when you're actually using cash, you don't want to let that green stuff go. Psychologically, you worked extremely hard for it and you want to hold on to your money as much as possible. So if people start using cash rather than credit cards or debit cards, I think they're going to save a lot of money just simply from the psychological advantage. Actually, we're heading into the holiday season right now, and studies have shown that consumers will spend 40% more using their credit cards than they would if they were using cash. So, guys, when you go in to buy presents for your loved ones and your friends, make sure you use your cash immediately rather than your credit cards.
I think we should do a social campaign ahead of the holiday season. Hashtag use cash or pay cash or something. A challenge for all of us to actually put the cash in our wallet and shop with it.
Unfortunately, some of the younger generation may not even know what cash is.
This is not wrong. It's true, which is surprising that we even have a coin shortage, but that's a whole other tangent. All right, what are some of the other ways that you can not only budget, but to make some money, to put some money into your coffers, as it were?
Listen, we all have a lot of stuff built up around our houses. Sell some of it. You're not using it. What about gym equipment that's used as a clothes rack? What about a bicycle that you haven't ridden in years? Just go and sell it to a friend, cash, monetize what's laying around the house. Also, what about if we're going through and doing dieting, fasting for diets, meaning we do a cleansing process? What happens if we just stop spending on credit cards for a week? See how much cash you have left over at the end of that week. Just stop buying stuff and you'll be in much better shape.
I know that in 2008, I'm a coffee drinker. I have to have my cup or two or three every single day. But back during the Great Recession, where it was so easy, you just pop into the Starbucks, you buy a $3 cup of coffee. That money goes really fast and it adds up day after day after day. Well, I remember when we were experiencing the Great Recession, that's when I started bringing my coffee from home, get up a little early, brew it, put it in a cup, and bring it to work. So what are some of the things that we just don't even realize we're spending our money on that we should kind of take notice first and cut back on?
I mean, you bring up an interesting point. Our grandparents are rolling in their graves right now that we're spending $5 for a cup of coffee that probably cost them 5 cents when they were our age. I mean, the reality is it doesn't sound like a lot, but if you have a cup of coffee at Starbucks, it could add up to $700 a year if you do it. That's a lot of money. I mean, the fact of the matter is, just watch what you're spending. Do you need so many computer services? If you have Netflix, do you need Hulu and Disney and God knows whatever else is out there? I mean, the fact of the matter is there's lots of fat in everybody's budget and they just need to recognize it. And during this budgeting session for the family, I think it's a good opportunity to say, are you really using this? Are we spending money for nothing? Things like that.
With the
I
entertainment services, I think it's FOMO. I think people are talking about this latest awesome series. Well, you're fear of missing out. You want to see it too. All right, finally, with just a few seconds left, Howard, what about part-time jobs? A
part-time
side
jobs
hustle.
part-time jobs are great. Now with the recession that we're in, they may not be available, and a lot of people may have had part-time jobs that are not there anymore. But if you have the opportunity, do it. I will tell you, I have a niece who's an accountant, a very talented gal, and she decided to start to make bracelets on the weekends. And these bracelets, beaded bracelets, she sits at home and now she has her husband doing it. And the fact of the matter is, she's going to make $100,000 a year making these bracelets and selling them on the internet. And granted, when my daughter asked, can she have one? She said, no, this is my inventory. So, which I'm proud of her. I'm
Smart
very proud.
businesswoman. She really is. Don't give away your wares for free.
Absolutely. But I
That's
will tell you, people can come up with things to make money, pet sitting, car washing, things that don't take a lot of energy. Great ideas just to add another 40, 50, $100 a week, and it will impact their budgets.
It adds up, and the process could be cathartic too. I think making some jewelry sounds like almost therapeutic. Well, I want to thank you so much, Howard, for spending time with us, and great advice as always.
Thank you so much for having me.
For more
Appreciate it.
information, you can always go to his website, Debt.com. We're back in 2 minutes.